Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Lianas Senior Transition Support, helping you navigate home care and senior residences.
My name is Matt Delvecchio, specializing in life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry. Welcome to our segment called Helping Mums and Dads. And we try to provide a little guidance and support to the sandwich generation, the adult children that might have their own families and also maybe a little concerned about their own folks or even grandparents. And we'd like to bring some interesting and knowledgeable guests covering a vast array of topics that help families cope with the challenges of the aging process. I work a lot with seniors in my professional role, assisting families with elder care planning and transitions to senior living communities. And let's face it, the pandemic has taken a toll on older adults. In fact, social inclusion and urban isolation has taken a toll on everyone, including students and younger adults. So what happens when you blend older adults with younger adults? Quite simply, magic. To tell us more about the power of intergenerational relationships, let's hear from Caitlin Fahy. Caitlin is the executive director of a wonderful organization called The Yellow Door. Caitlin, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Caitlin, thanks for coming on board. I love The Yellow Door, what you guys are all about. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, The Yellow Door is a registered charity that has been serving downtown Montreal for over 125 years. And I think it's a really special and unique community organization. Today, we run intergenerational programs and services aimed at promoting social inclusion and holistic well-being.
Love it. And we're going to dig into some of the details of what you do. But I want to back it up a little bit here, Caitlin, because social inclusion is not a term that was used very often. We're hearing it more and more, and especially in an urban setting. Can you tell us a little bit more about social inclusion and some of the potential effects?
Yes, so social isolation has been linked to really poor mental and physical health outcomes, from depression, I think even through to cardiovascular problems. So through our programs, we aim to reduce loneliness, to connect people, to broaden their networks, which can make them more resilient, which is a word we've heard a lot of lately, to provide resource referrals so they can seek other help, and also to increase compassion across generations.
We tend to think of this as more of a seniors, older adult issue, but equally important is isolation across all generations, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. And I think that we all got a feel of the negative effects of social isolation during the height of the pandemic. And we have a lot of international students that volunteer with us. And I think they are seeking community because maybe they feel a bit isolated. They've left their home and their networks that they had. And so they reach out to us to try and to build a community here on their own. And so while this is not just a senior issue, I do want to point out that seniors as a group are definitely more vulnerable. We heard a lot about this during the pandemic because they're more likely to live alone, on a fixed income, or with limited mobility.
Yeah, certainly. And this is where the Yellow Door brings these generations together. And because we can't lose sight of the fact that, you do have a lot of international students, and it may be difficult for them to integrate into society, a little more difficult perhaps than others. Throw in a pandemic, it makes it even worse. And of course, we've all heard what it can and has done to seniors and the elderly. And so let's get into some of these programs that you are offering at the Yellow Door. Can you mention a few of the most popular ones that you're doing?
Sure. So we're likely most well known for our Generations program. It's one of our 3 programs, and this year celebrates 50 years of helping seniors. So for 5 decades, we've assisted seniors through friendly visits, which is our most requested service, help with errands, so whether it's a pharmacy or a grocery store, and accompany them to appointments, specifically medical appointments, traveling to and from with them. So these services help maintain their independence and help these seniors remain in their homes here in downtown Montreal. And as far as we know it, this program is unique to the area because we take time to match seniors with the youth. So it's the same volunteer visiting every week after week. And it's the goal of more than just a service, but to foster intergenerational and interpersonal relationships.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here, and we're talking with Caitlin Fahy. Caitlin is the executive director of a special organization called the Yellow Door, and we're talking about the power of intergenerational relationships. One of those programs you're talking about called that Generations Program. Caitlin, I think, around 175 volunteers and over 200 seniors just in that Generations Program, from what I understand.
Yes, we actually have close to 250 seniors.
Wow.
That's served by 175 volunteers.
Amazing. Also, a couple of the other programs that you're offering. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rabbit Hole Cafe? I love that.
The Rabbit Hole is an initiative that's been around since the 1960s. With the Yellow Door. So currently on Fridays, volunteers, completely volunteer run. They cook and serve a vegan lunch for about $3 or $4 to the community. All ages, anyone can come. Last week they made veggie dumplings. A few weeks ago they made this lime tart. It was so good. Everyone's welcome to join us again starting in January, Friday around lunchtime, and then you can either take your lunch or enjoy it in our community space.
I love that. And, it's just 100% volunteer run, right? You
Yes.
mentioned, and that is something else. You're getting a meal as well. And just going back quickly to the some of the home-based services. So if I understand correctly, Caitlin, with this Generations program, you're matching up a student with a senior. So it's not a bunch of different students with the same senior, right? You really do try to match the two together.
Yes, on language preference and common interests, with the idea that they will have something in common and really get to know each other and become friends.
That's really something, that's one of the challenges. Even with the CLSC, I'm involved with the public system as well. And one of the challenges with CLSC workers is you do tend to get different people. And this is what I love about this particular program. You're matching these students with seniors. I would imagine, Caitlin, the students are probably getting as much gratification out of these relationships than even the seniors, aren't they?
Yes. So when the program started, I think it really was just about there's an aging population and these young people wanted to do something. And no one imagined, I think, that it would last as long as it did or really have such an impact on these youth. And so we've learned over the past, 5 decades that youth really get something out of it. They gain a new perspective, a new way of looking at things. University can be really intense. They're very young. And when speaking to someone who's in their 70s or 80s, you get a new perspective on life beyond university and all the kind of different interesting things that you can do with your life. And we hear this from volunteers over and over again, that they were just so surprised what they had in common with the senior and how well they got along with them.
That's great. I love that. And we're going to take it one step further with, I think you have even open mic nights. That must be fun. Tell us about it.
Yes. So this is part of our wellness group, and they happen every Friday at 8 p.m. The community is welcome to join us for our Hootenanny, and it's as either a performer or a participant in the audience. And it's an all-ages free event where new and emerging artists can participate in a collaborative open mic, so you get feedback from the audience. This is also volunteer-run, and then sometimes it includes a featured performer, which we list on social media or our website. And other than a pause during the pandemic, so just started up again, it has been running since 1966.
It's amazing. It's a lot of people don't even know about this. And what's the term you use, Hootenanny? Is that where's that from?
I believe it refers to some kind of kitchen party or some kind of musical performance from the southern U.S. It's just a fun name that the volunteer uses, and people might know us only for our open mic night, for our Hootenanny, because they've come and they don't realize that we also have all these other services. So it's really nice. We're trying to connect all of our programs more as we go forward.
Yeah, I like that. It's you're offering so many different programs, avenues for people to get connected, and if open mic night opens the doors for the others, I love that. So, give me an example of what's going on in open mic night. They're just picking up the mic. Is it a karaoke style or is real deal music? How's that work?
No, it's spoken word or musicians, and while they may play cover songs, it's also an opportunity to practice their own music that they have written. And like I said, then they can get feedback from the audience on their performance, on their lyrics, on their stage presence, all of these things. And the volunteer that runs it is a musician himself, and he's really dedicated, and he runs it in a really fun and collaborative way.
I love that. All right. Well, we're talking with Caitlin Fahy, Executive Director of the Yellow Door here on Life on Rehearsed. We have to head out to a traffic break, Caitlin, but when we come back, we're going to talk about your wellness group. Just love what you're doing there, and we're going to let our listeners know how everyone can participate, especially on a volunteer basis as well. But first, let's head out to the CJD Traffic Center, and we're going to hear from Jill Fitzgerald.
Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Lianas Senior Transition Support, helping you navigate home care and senior residences.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed as we continue with our little tribute to Fleetwood Mac and Christine McVie, who passed away this past week. I'm talking with Caitlin Fahy. Caitlin's the executive director of a really special organization called the Yellow Door, and we're talking about the power of intergenerational relationships. I see that firsthand in my world when perhaps doing some tours in the residences and senior living communities, and it happens all the time. If there's a child, a student, a young adult interacting with the seniors, there's just this glow, and you could see the magic happening. And Caitlin, I want to bring you back in here because we're talking about the Yellow Door and so many different activities and programs going on. We briefly talked about the open mic night, which is part of your intergenerational wellness groups, and you do much more than just the open mic night, Caitlin. Can you tell us about some of the other popular wellness groups at the Yellow Door?
Sure, yeah. So our wellness groups provide opportunities for socialization, creativity, mindfulness, and community building. And every week we have a full schedule. I think there's 10 different groups right now. So there's yoga, adaptive yoga, wood carving, art therapy, an art hive, pole walking, a tech cafe. These groups are free and they're open to all ages. So we're really trying to encourage these intergenerational friendships and groups. And there's no registration, and everyone is welcome to drop in at any time.
Just amazing. And it is actually quite amazing with how much you are doing, and so much of this is volunteer based as well. And,
yes.
And just putting everyone together, seniors and young adults together. You do have a couple of events coming up, I think, Caitlin. Can you tell us about them?
Yes. So staff have been planning 2 special holiday events for our senior members for feels like forever, but for months. So on Tuesday, we'll host a concert featuring a jazz trio from the organization Les Sams. All of our senior members can come, and it's a way for us to gather safely. And then on Thursday, we used to, before the pandemic, dine together and have a big holiday meal with everything. And another wave, we were too hesitant to do that. So Thursday, staff and volunteers will deliver over 120 special holiday meals and gifts to seniors at home. It's just a really special day and special event, and it's funded by individual donors from the community.
Nice. Very nice. And so I think a lot of people are asking, what geographic area do you cover with the Yellow Door?
Yeah, so our offices are at 3625 Aylmer. You can't miss us. We really do have a bright yellow door, and we're just on the hill from McGill. And we serve seniors living in downtown, so specifically the areas of Ville Marie, the Little Portugal area of the plateau, so it's a little square of the plateau, and then the Old Port. And however, anyone is welcome to join in our activities as long as you can get to our community space. That's
nice. So you don't specifically have to be in that geographic region if you could just have to get down to the area. So again, repeat where they would need to go. Is everything held at your main office or spread out throughout?
Our main office hosts the lunch that I talked about and our open mic night. So Fridays is really busy there, and a few of our groups. And then our other groups are at a community room that we have near the Avenue Prince Arthur and Park. It's near our office. It's all kind of in the same area, but our building is a very old building with stairs. So we had to find an accessible community space that everyone can access.
Okay, very good. And we're going to give out your contact information, Caitlin, at the end here so people can look you up. And I just want to, make our listeners realize, although it does seem quite local. The Yellow Door has been around for so long, 125 years. It's amazing. And there is a whole team and a whole board behind this, and a lot of it is volunteer-driven, from what I understand, isn't it?
Yes. The staff is, we're currently 7 individuals, 2 of which are part-time, the rest are part-time. 2 of which, are full-time, the rest are part-time. And there's a really dedicated board. Some of the board members have been serving for a very long time. They're very involved at the ground level with everything that we do. And volunteers are so, so important. They run our groups. They're matched with seniors. They help out in the office, everything from graphic design and translation. We're so lucky to have all these, not just youth, but sort of all age volunteers helping us.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Delvecchio, and that's the voice of Caitlin Fahy. Caitlin's the executive director of the Yellow Door. Now, you mentioned volunteers, and it's really a village holding this together, but you're always looking for volunteers. I think a lot of organizations are looking for volunteers. If people want to help out, are you looking for just students, Caitlin, or do you need adults, seniors? How can people volunteer, and who are you looking for?
The only requirement is that they're over age 18, but anyone is welcome to volunteer. And yes, we are in need of volunteers to help us with a wide range of things. And so all this information is on our website, yellowdoor.org. You can see the different volunteer needs that we have right now, fill out the volunteer application. We do have some, I would say, younger seniors that volunteer with us. There's no restrictions there because most of the seniors that we serve, I think about 80% are over age 70.
Okay. And we're going to repeat this website often, yellowdoor.org, you said, right? Okay. Very good. And if you do want to volunteer, and let's say I'm an older adult and I want to participate, how do they go about it? Is there an application process, or what do they have to do?
Yes, most of our seniors are referred to us through the Community Health Network, through local CLSCs. And then also from their peers. And so if a senior is interested, they're welcome to look us up on our website to learn more and then get in touch with us that way. A lot of seniors don't use the internet or have access to it at home, so we get a lot of calls. You can call us, 514-845-2600, and you can speak to any of our staff. We can give you more information. We'll check your address. The only qualifications are that a senior is over age 55 and live within our territory, so the area I mentioned earlier.
Okay, interesting. And, you bring up such an important point, Caitlin, about maybe seniors aren't comfortable with technology, or they're just not comfortable getting or trying to find a website. And when I saw some of the, doing some research and in talking to you, this is one of the benefits of perhaps a student helping out a senior to get them even more comfortable with their digital prowess, isn't it?
Yes. So volunteers are matched with seniors to help them at home with their tech questions. And we also run a tech cafe every other week, where it's an open space and anyone can drop in with their device and ask questions, and the youth volunteers are there to answer all of their questions. And the seniors are so appreciative, and they're often in awe of these experts that we've matched them with, when in reality these experts are just youth who are very patient and knowledgeable and willing to share their knowledge with others.
I just love it. Caitlin, we want to thank you very much for coming on to Life Unrehearsed. Let's repeat the website and the phone number one more time.
It's yellowdoor.org, and our phone number is 514-845-2600.
It's 514-845-2600. Thank you very much, Caitlin.
Sure, thank you.
All right, that's Caitlin Fahy, Executive Director of the Yellow Door. Now, next week on Life Unrehearsed, 2 very interesting topics and guests. We're going to have Notary Anna Camateras on the show talking about Law 18 that recently came into effect. In fact, November 1st. Have you heard about this law? Well, it's a law to better protect people in vulnerable situations. There's some fascinating new powers for people who are incapacitated. And is it time for a mixed healthcare system? Should we be increasing private sector assets to support the public sector, similar to systems in France and Sweden? It's a very hot topic. We've all seen, I guess, the state of our healthcare system, and we are going to have a really big debate next week on Life Unrehearsed. Thank you very much for tuning in. As a reminder, for all your inquiries or assistance with life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry, it'd be my pleasure to help. Call me at Lianas Senior Transition Support at 8074, or simply look us up at Lianas Senior Transition Support. Many thanks to our technical producer, Dario. You can listen to Life Unrehearsed here on CJD 800 every Saturday at 3 p.m.